So much like John Cena having an intimate relationship with China, WWE's one with Saudi Arabia expands to levels that no one thought was possible. And this all started in 2018 when WWE started holding large-scale events, starting with its inaugural event, the Greatest Royal Rumble. And over the years, the company has organized a total of 9 events in the country, including Night of Champions in 2023. And since then, WWE has faced significant backlash for its association with Saudi Arabia. However, despite the controversies, the company has remained committed to hosting its events in Saudi Arabia, not only to widen its demographic and viewership since wrestling is so popular overseas, but also for the unprecedented financial success as the result of the partnership. So let's take a look at the important stories that wrestling fans should know about with WWE's deal with Saudi Arabia. This all began with Mohammed bin Salman and the Prime Minister. Their goal was simple, to make a change in their country, and that's when the 2030 vision was created. And the idea behind it is to create a thriving economy where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. It is built around 3 main themes which is set out specific objectives that are meant to be achieved by 2030. Those are a vibrant society, urbanism, culture and entertainment, and sports, and much more. But to achieve this goal, many have accused the Saudi government of bad practice, as many critics claim that Saudi Arabia's investments of hundreds of millions of dollars into sport is designed to cover up its poor human rights records and have branded the practice as sports washing, something their government and MBS are well aware of.
Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who has said that he does not care about accusations of sports washing.
WWE's initial partnership with the country began way back in 2013 when the company was holding house shows over there. Their first significant pay-per-view event was the Greatest Royal Rumble, and that took place in the King Abdullah International Stadium in Jeddah back in 2018. And from here, it was clear that the partnership was going to be massive when the company decides to hold its biggest Royal Rumble match ever in the month of April, with 50 men entering the ring. And considering the one and only time WWE changed the number of competitors for a Rumble was back in 2011. However, fans' reception to the news was mixed at the time, with reports coming out that Saudi officials wanted a mixture of current superstars and legends to appear. So it was evident that the individual who contacted WWE was not staying up to date with current programming, as they requested the inclusions of wrestlers like Yokozuna, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, and The Undertaker. So this clarifies why The Undertaker was scheduled for the event versus Rusev in a casket match, and that was rushed together so quickly considering his original opponent was Chris Jericho. Additionally, for the event, they expressed a desire for the announcer who wears the crown and the black hat, which is why Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler was initially announced as commentators. However, this arrangement was later altered when they were inserted on the kickoff show. So as time passed by, the partnership was put into next gear when the company and the General Entertainment Authority decided they will hold 2 WrestleMania level events per year. So you may be wondering,
what's the catch?
You can argue that this diminishes the WrestleMania events that WWE hold in April. And another reason may be that many have criticized the country for its extreme government policies and limited women rights. Before 2017, women weren't even allowed in sports stadiums in the country, and on top of that, the country didn't allow female superstars to perform at the Greatest Royal Rumble. But WWE was still new to learning the culture. At the time, during the pay-per-view event, they showed images of female superstars in their normal attire, which the Saudi government wasn't too happy about. It's crazy to think, but it sparked a massive controversy in which an apology had to be issued.
Officials in Saudi Arabia say they're sorry after images of women wrestlers in skimpy outfits appeared on screen during a wrestling match. So Saudi government officials were pretty upset when a promotional ad featuring lady wrestlers filled a monitor in that stadium. In a statement, they call the women indecent.
Over the years, the media have created a term called sports washing regarding the country's use of the petrodollar to obtain anything of value to fix their image. As WWE pay-per-views is just one of many sporting events Saudi have used for this reason. This also extends to Formula 1, boxing, golf, football, just to name a few. This has brought an insane amount of criticisms towards WWE, but Vince is all about the money and expanding wrestling overseas. But who could blame him? Because what I'm about to reveal will blow your mind. Going into the 2010s, it was a no-brainer that Vince was going to make a decision that brought in as much revenue as possible, even if it came at an expense of a dip in creativity and quality television. And it's been reported that the company is making a staggering $50 million per event. This is an enormous amount of revenue for WWE, and just to put it into perspective, in 2018, the year the deal was made, the wrestling company reported $930 million in annual revenue. $100 million in that year accounted for 10% of the company's yearly gross. Furthermore, the biggest gate ever in a single pro wrestling event was $17.3 million in 2016 for WrestleMania 32 in Arlington, Texas. But each Saudi event is equal to about 3 of those, and 5 Saudi events in the span of 2 years has made more money than every WrestleMania put together from 1985 to 2019.
Despite backlash from some fans, WWE plans to move forward with its Crown Jewel event in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as originally planned. It is believed that the WWE could receive around $45 million a year during a decade-long partnership with the country.
WWE wrestling people, they're getting ready to hold another big event in Saudi Arabia, and this is a big one coming up next month, November 2nd.
Now, it wasn't until 2018 that another controversy was raised for WWE, and it was when Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi was assassinated under suspicious circumstances back in Turkey. Many believe that the Saudi government played a large role, and news outlets and fans across the world were quick to voice their concerns and even tried to force WWE to end their relationship with them after the incident.
WWE actually has their next event in Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel, scheduled to take place this Friday, and they've understandably been under real pressure to cancel it. And the truth is, wrestling fans have long been uncomfortable with this whole Saudi deal. And yet, despite all the criticism, the WWE is going full steam ahead with Crown Jewel in partnership with a country that, remember, just murdered and dismembered a journalist for the Washington Post. They are pushing ahead with this event, despite the serious concerns of some of their own wrestlers and their own fan base.
And because of this assassinations, wrestling fans had their concerns over the safety of the superstars traveling to the Saudi Arabia events over the years, and their concerns were turned into a real-life scary incident when WWF wrestlers were left stranded in the country following a 2019 Crown Jewel event. So this led to multiple reports from sources like Dave Meltzer, who claimed that some wrestlers in fact believed that the plane was deliberately being held on the ground by Saudi authorities, although for what purpose is unclear. And Meltzer also reported that multiple WWE wrestlers contacted him, characterizing their extended stay as a hostage situation, while the Body Slam report cited that other wrestlers were calling it a power play by the Saudis. Finally, some reports say that the delay was in fact a retribution from the Saudi government towards WWE. The claim goes that WWE cut off the Crown Jewel broadcasting feed in Saudi Arabia over a lapsed payment. In any event, the claim goes, in retaliation to WWE cutting the feed, the Saudis essentially temporarily detained the performers and the production staff. However, a WWE spokesman did have this to say about the situation. The company has confirmed publicly that there is no dispute over any sort of payment and that a mechanical issue is the cause of the flight's delay. So some wrestlers and announcers had their opinion on the matter, and here's what they had to say.
Dangerous situation because of the fact that Saudi Arabia had already been in serious trouble when they killed that reporter in Turkey at the embassy. So they were very, very concerned. It was just about big money, millions of dollars, and Vince got upset and he cut the feed for Saudi Arabia, and that got the Prince upset and it stopped him from leaving the country and got him off the plane.
What was the problem? Not real sure. I heard there was a fuel truck in the way and the guy who drove the fuel truck had left to go home. Doesn't make much sense. It's not a big issue. Nobody is threatened to kill us. There was none of that going on.
Thankfully, the situation was sorted, with many wrestlers tweeting their relief to be home in the US. So it's easy to see that the public perception between these two entities has not been good in their initial phases. But it's easy to forget about the wrestlers in this situation, as they're the ones working day in and day out for WWE. And while many wrestlers have been quiet in the matter, there have been a few that have been outspoken about the company's partnership with Saudi Arabia. For starters, Sami Zayn for a long period of time refused to work the Saudi shows mainly because of his Syrian descent. And Sami has been extremely active for his Sami for Syria medical relief organization to support the Syrian American Medical Society. But because of the strained relationship between Syria and Saudi, Sami refused to work the Saudi shows. And being loyal to his best friend, Kevin Owens also refused to perform at the Saudi events, although in recent time that's changed, with both of them performing at Night of Champions this year, after the Saudi and Syrian relationships were re-established, as the two champions defended their tag titles against the Bloodline. So if there's any positive to come from all of this, it would be Sami being embraced by the home crowd while being able to go on his religious pilgrimage. On the flip side of things, the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi compelled several wrestlers not to take part in 2018 Crown Jewel's pay-per-view event, and some notable names like John Cena, Bobby Lashley and Daniel Bryan were all supposed to face AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at the event. If all of this suggests anything, is that the country's poor track record has certainly made the wrestlers not feel like back participating in the events. And despite the wrestlers' criticism over the bizarre relationship, only thing that has made the superstars appear in Saudi Arabia in the first place are those sweet dollar bills. It's obvious that WWE isn't the only entity that's benefiting from this partnership. The superstars are being paid well for the 2 shows that take part every year. And if you want to hear something crazy, Goldberg used to get paid $2 million per appearance when he was contracted with the company. And the same can be said for The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. And it's money like this that has forced WWE's hand to book something special for the crowd that doesn't always come out in the best possible way. For example, WWE booked a match between The Undertaker and Goldberg back in 2019, thinking it would be a dream match. But I guess WWE's creative team forgot that both these guys were a lot older when this dream match was initially booked, as both wrestlers were well past their prime, and it was a disaster for Matt. They could have both injured one another. Another example is when the company booked Goldberg to end The Fiend's Universal title run in 2020, which many fans still question why they were even booked together. We also had Shawn Michaels come out of retirement to reunite with Triple H to verse Kane and The Undertaker back in 2018. To put things into perspective, the combined age of all 4 of these wrestlers at the time, 206 years old, and it showed in the ring. And finally, WWE also brought in Tyson Fury and Cain Velasquez for forgettable matches in Saudi Arabia. To put it simply, the shows up until 2021 were awful. They were more glorified house shows, plain and simple. As exciting as it may be, it still has the world wondering, is the endeavor trying to make headlines after finalizing the merger between WWE and the UFC, or is it another way of Saudi Arabia sports washing to improve its public perception? However, while most will still look at the situation in a negative light, there's many positives that can come from this scenario and this deal between WWE and Saudi Arabia. And just because the relationship has been loathed in every step of the way, it doesn't take away the fact that Saudi Arabia genuinely has millions of wrestling fans as well. A country with hundreds and thousands of wrestling fans deserve a wrestling show that will not only give them a great time, but a memory that they can look back to and be proud of. In addition to this, the women's rights in Saudis have also improved, with women being allowed inside the stadiums and even letting female superstars perform with the right attire. And the first ever women's match took place at Crown Jewel in 2019 when Natalya defeated Lacey Evans. Say whatever you want that this is just another attempt by the Saudi authorities to sports wash its track record, but this match was a massive cultural breakthrough in the best possible way. In addition to this, Vince also mentioned the impact that wrestling can have in changing one's perception.
Saudi fans are, really enthusiastic like they are everywhere else. So it was an opportunity to play before the audience. No different than people love Western culture all over the world. They don't love our government, but they love Western culture.
And speaking of the matches, the quality of the event has vastly improved ever since the 2021 Crown Jewel event. Triple H has produced 2 Saudi pay-per-views, Crown Jewel 2022 and Night of Champions this year. Both had excellent matches and segments. From the incredible Logan Paul and Roman Reigns match at Crown Jewel to AJ Styles and Seth Rollins classic at Night of Champions this year, the shows are beginning to feel more important than ever. Oh, and the Bloodline melodrama from Night of Champions, giving more reasons that these shows are no longer glorified house shows many deem them to be. So things are looking more brighter than ever, and fans are definitely more excited for the Crown Jewel event this November. And the argument can be made, ever since Triple H took over creative control, no pay-per-view has been poor in quality. As a matter of fact, all of them have been great in a respective way. With Crown Jewel event this year, expect big matches once again from the game. As time goes by, people are appreciating the Saudi events a little bit more. It's better to respect the fact that we're getting massive shows and good television rather than criticizing every single thing, which is common in the wrestling community. But let us know what you think in the comment section below.